You're listening to Geekcast Radio on geekcastradio.com.
Hello and welcome to Geekcast Radio, episode 16. I am your host, DFG and Mike, and joining me is Steve Megatron. Hello.
Hello.
And from the lunch table rebooted, or the lunch room, or whatever the hell it's called, Michael Powers. Hello.
Hello. I mean, if you want to call it the lunch table this week.
I don't know. It's just... You need to get that art changed, because it's a conflict of interest.
Yeah.
I'm
working on it. The guy, my artist, his
you can
power
also have
cable.
Steve make something.
His power cable broke on his laptop, so he doesn't have access to his art tools to draw anything. So,
well, you can always ask Steve to make something for you because he does art all the time for us.
Oh, mine's more so digital. I mean, if you don't mind that kind of thing, I can do that. But
if you want to, if it's infuriating enough to Mike, I guess we might.
No, I don't really care, but I'm just saying, you changed the name of the show, yet you still have art that says The Lunch Table on it.
Yeah, and I still have a Facebook page that says The Lunch Table. And I still have a feed burner feed that says The Lunch Table.
So today we're going to be doing a discussion. It's a topic that Steve came up with: theater gimmicks and 3D versus CGI. So Who wants to go first?
I do, because I just want a clarification on something here, Steve.
Yes.
Why are we pitting CGI against 3D?
I didn't say we were pitting them against each other. I was just going to have that as a discussion. Mike kind of inferred that.
Oh, okay. So is that why it's not CGI versus 3D?
No, it's just the talk of it within movies, like whether CGI or 3D or both. Happen to do certain things to certain movies.
Well, I think we can just go right up front and say, $, just say no to 3D.
Yes.
I don't really think there's I was trying to think on the way home what none of us are in favor of 3D. So
no, just say no to 3D.
Yeah, so I was kind of thinking of what you could actually say, and the only thing I could say is I don't care for 3D, and I don't think 3D is exactly universally accessible. Because I mean, obviously, blind people can't watch movies, but now you've got people that can see that can't properly see a 3D movie. So you're limiting another portion of the population.
Yeah, I mean, me personally, I will never pay to see a 3D movie just because, one, I mean, I saw one for free, which is the My Bloody Valentine, but
oh, man,
it was pretty good. But the only bad thing was I had a group of 20 people in front of me that were mowing food like they were running a lawnmower over grass.
Oh, man.
And then every time they saw a naked body or somebody get slashed, they'd just go like as loud as they could, obnoxiously. And so that's why I will never go back to Showcase West again.
Oh, okay. Oh, see, the thing, the running gag with me and one of the co-hosts of the lunchroom, Jason, is that I don't know if we've said it on any of the recent podcasts, but My Bloody Valentine is probably the best 3D movie we have ever seen.
Oh yeah, I would say I like that.
I mean, in the running joke is, I mean, there is no better use for 3D than 3D boobs, but whatever. It's just a running joke.
I got double vision.
So yeah, 3D universally.
Yeah, I personally don't care for it. Now I haven't heard anything about, for instance, I didn't see Avatar in the theater. I have watched it since it hit DVD.
You
Um,
have or haven't?
I have watched it on DVD.
How did you like that? Because I watched it in 3D and I thought that it would look much better in 2D.
I
Well, you
can
have no.
honestly say, I mean, obviously it's come a long way since the Beast Wars era of CGI, but I mean a long way. They actually have like realistic faces on them for the most part. I mean, they imprinted the actual actors and actresses' faces to the
Right.
characters, but at the same time, I didn't. I don't know. Something about it just it doesn't sit right with me. I don't know. The movie looked good. I mean, I'm not going to deny that. It was just I don't know. Story was kind of. It seemed like the same type of shit that I see all the time. So it didn't really
Yeah,
quite catch my interest as much.
yeah, that's pretty much the way it was. It was like it bad story, or a generic story with really cool visuals.
Yeah, I mean, and mostly what turned me off was some of the unoriginal like names. I mean, he'd been working on this 10 years, and then unobtainium.
Unobtainium.
I mean, really? You've got the Navi and whatever the hell their planet's name is and all this other stuff, and then you've got unobtainium. It's like you could
Yeah,
have given it. I mean, it's almost as bad as Iron Man 2, him creating this new element and never saying what it was.
yeah. Well, you almost wish they would have done that.
Just never said
You
what
know,
it was. So you just
yeah,
think
the
it's
other
some
way.
cool name that you can't pronounce.
Yeah, whatever. I guess my problem with, I mean, I'm not a fan of 3D. Avatar was actually pretty cool in 3D. That's the only way I was able to see it because that's the only way our theater got it. Um,
Well, that's interesting.
but what I'm not a fan of is the up conversion process, where the film is shot with a 2D camera and then it's up converted to 3D.
Oh,
Um, and that's what's happening with a lot of movies. They're being, they're being shot, and then it's like, oh my god, this 3D stuff is so awesome. So let's up convert it. I mean, the next two Harry Potter movies are getting the 3D treatment, the upgrade treatment. The Last Airbender is getting upgraded to 3D. The next three Marvel movies will be in 3D. It's just
see,
not.
it's too much of a gimmick. It's overkill.
Well, I think that's what set Avatar apart for me, is that Avatar, it wasn't a gimmick in Avatar. And there are movies where it isn't a gimmick, like Up, that the 3D in that was never a gimmick. You can do a 3D movie. Like, okay, My Bloody Valentine is a perfect example. The scenes where there's no one getting killed, like during the day when they're just walking around,
Yeah.
those scenes, to me, those look great. It's just there's no 3D-ness going on, but there's depth there.
Yeah.
And that is what, Avatar, that's what Avatar was about, was just using 3D for that kind of, like, for atmosphere rather than it's coming at you.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, like I said, I haven't seen Avatar in the theater or in 3D, so I mean, I don't really know how that whole experience was. But to me, like the extent of 3D is like wearing those goofy glasses that, I mean, like at the theater, they're clear, which was nice. I mean, you know, they're a lot different than when you, per se, have a DVD or a Blu-ray at home and have a green and a red
If you
eyepiece,
have
which really sucks.
if you have thousands of dollars, you can get the same glasses at home now too.
Well, yeah, I mean, I keep the glasses, but they do me no good because I don't have any equipment that actually uses them. But uh, to me, I don't care enough about 3D. I would never pay the extra. Like I hardly buy or go to IMAX movies just because I'm not willing to spend the extra to go see a movie that to me isn't. I mean, it'd have to really, really be a good movie. Like for instance, Star Trek. I saw that in IMAX because I mean, granted, it's got a shitload of CGI in it, and there was no 3D, but it was such an awesome, monumental reboot of the show or of the movies and everything, that was worth it to me to spend the extra. Like I would do an IMAX before I do 3D.
I agree with you there. So yeah, just say no to 3D.
Yes, 3D, no, sucks. And pretty much the more people that boycott that, the less they'll do it in the future to all of the movies. Because pretty much, unless you're doing an action movie or some kind of a CGI movie where there's a lot of, for instance, like a kiddie movie type thing, or some kind of a slasher. I mean, something actually worth using it on. Like if you're gonna do it on like a drama or something else, you're just dumb.
Well, see that okay, like I said, I like the scenes in My Bloody Valentine where there wasn't anything going on, and like all of Avatar. I would just from the I gotta see this perspective, I would like to see a drama like this is just really weird, and it's the first thing that comes to my mind when I think of drama. But I would like to see an American Beauty done in 3D.
Huh.
Like just to see, not to not to just see what it would do.
Yeah, that would be interesting to see. I mean, I doubt it would go very far, but I mean, it would be still.
Then you're out of the realm of it being a gimmick, and you're just going there to watch this movie unfold in front of you, and you actually feel like you're there with the people,
Yeah, now if they could do something like that, it might be worth going to see.
So, you wanna what did you have in mind when you said gimmicks? Or was that something that Mike added?
May have been something he added. I don't remember for sure. I do know that, that's obviously one gimmick. IMAX to me, like it seems like they're trying to put a lot of movies that honestly don't need IMAX.
And I as a projectionist, I totally agree with you on that.
Like, there's a lot of movies that they don't even film maybe but one scene, two scenes maybe at most, and they're real quick, and then they put them in IMAX and say, "Oh, we have an IMAX movie," just so that they can put it on the big screen.
Well, actually, there are only two movies in existence that have done that, and that is The Dark Knight and Revenge of the Fallen.
Wow.
Everything else is just upscaled to this film has been formatted to fit this screen.
Nice.
And so it's so in that respect, there are a lot of movies that that show up in IMAX that I don't really think are worth it. But there are some, like you said, Star Trek. I've definitely seen both Transformers in IMAX. I've seen, I saw The Dark Knight. I will see Tron in IMAX.
Yeah, that to me, I think that would be awesome and epic. Even if that were in 3D, that would be a good one for 3D.
It is in 3D.
Okay, yeah, that would be
the trailer. I've only seen the trailer for it in 3D, and it does look pretty epic. I mean, but I don't want to see it because it's 3D. I want to see it because it's like. And what's really weird is that this is just an aside. That trailer, for some reason, I don't know what it is. Like, I don't have an affinity for Tron. I've watched it like 3 times, and it is like one of the most awful movies ever.
Yes.
Just the way it looks, right? But the idea is
so
cool.
Dated.
Yeah, exactly. The idea is cool, though. It's kind of like the original Matrix.
Yeah.
But I have no connection to this. The first time I watched it was like in 2004. I was like 23, so I didn't grow up with this. And every time I see the new Tron trailer, like only in the theater though, because the way that they mix the sound for the trailer, like I almost get like emotional. Like it for some reason it's like tapping into this thing. It's kind of like when you're like, it's like the first time. Like for me, it's like the first time I saw like the first Tomb Raider. Like I was a big fan of the Tomb Raider show, the games, and I went in and sat down in the theater for the first Tomb Raider, and those credits come up, and you see like Angelina Jolie, like you see this character like come to life, and you get like just a little bit emotional because this is like great, and it's kind of like it's I get that same feeling when I see the Tron trailer, but I don't understand why.
Yeah, the Tron trailer, I did see that a couple weeks ago. I think it was with Iron Man 2 I'd seen it. Um, and it 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 left me wanting to actually see it.
Yeah, there's
Like
something
bad.
about that music, like it's not the entire trailer. It's like the end part where he's like, where the son is just like, Dad, it's been a long time, and then you've got this shot of Jeff Bridges' eyes. I just like this like urge to like I have to see this movie just like washes over me, and I'm like, there's no fucking way I'm missing this.
Yeah, that was pretty kick-ass in itself.
All right, want to talk CGI?
Sure.
Why don't you lead this one since I don't know exactly what you wanna. The
Well, I was
3D was
meaning,
easy because no one cares for it.
yeah, I was meaning mostly as far as innovation in that since over the last 10 years.
Well, in my okay, it CGI is very tricky, right? Um, Good CGI you can't tell, uh, and bad CGI is awful, right?
Yes.
Um, I think at this point, um, I will go out on a limb and say that Avatar is probably like the pinnacle of CG. But if you go back to Jurassic Park, that shit still holds up.
Yeah, as old as it is, yeah, it surprisingly does.
And it was a couple of years ago. I watched a movie by Steven Sommers called, I think it was called Deep Rising. Could be wrong. It was about a ship that had just this sea monster attacks this ship. Basically, it's your typical monster movie. He made this movie before he made The Mummy,
Oh, okay.
and it was a CGI sea monster, tentacles and everything, and it looked really good, like really, really good. And then you move up to then you get stuff like episodes, Star Wars episodes 1, 2, and 3, which, in my opinion, look absolutely awful.
Yeah,
Uh,
those movies were I don't know, they were too cartoony looking. You
well,
could
see,
just
that's
tell everything was fake.
it. Well, and I spent some time thinking about this alone in my room, staring at a wall, pondering how could CGI, such rudimentary CGI, look so good in the mid '90s, look so awful at the beginning of the 2000s, and it finally had dawned on me that it, the longer people started using CGI, the less they started making sets, and it ended up being like, we'll drape this entire set in blue or green, and we'll just put the actors in there and they'll act against nothing. And if there's something that's taller than them, we'll put a tennis ball there. And we'll fill all that stuff in later. And what that does is it leaves everything up to your the special effects studio, which, as everyone knows, for Jurassic Park and I believe Deep Rising, and for especially for the Star Wars movies, is ILM.
Which pretty much does everything CGI.
Well, it now you get the problem with that is, that's why Star Wars looks so bad. All right, is because everything was done in front of a blue screen. And this is made very apparent if you watch the special features, because you're looking at them filming stuff and they're just in front of a green screen. You have no idea what scene it is, but all that stuff gets added in later. If you go back to Jurassic Park, they're there. The actors are in those environments, like like the last scene in Jurassic Park where the raptor's in the kitchen.
Yeah.
That those kids are in the kitchen. They're rattling everything around. They're climbing in the cupboards and stuff, trying to get away from a raptor that's not there. But they did such a good job, and the art team had existing light sources to work with, and everything else, that it just all came together. And Deep Rising is the same way, right? You've got the sea monster, and the water on set is real. They don't have to add that in with a cinematic. All they had to do was, if the tentacle pops out here, we're just going to drop something in the water that makes a really big wave.
Yeah.
And so you get practical effects with CG on real sets. That makes it, that locks it in, and then you get the Star Wars movies, and it like you said, it looks too cartoony, and there's a couple scenes in Star Wars where they look like, the actors look like they're fucking floating.
Yep.
Because they're not they couldn't get the light right. They couldn't get the shadows right. And then if you move forward, if you go into Lord of the Rings, we have my favorite studio in special effects studio in the world, which is Weta. They have digital effects, and they also have a practical effects house. And I don't know if either of you guys have ever watched the hours and hours of special features that are on the Lord of the Rings discs.
I will never buy that crap.
Well, okay.
I have them. I just haven't watched it.
Do you have the extended edition stuff?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, I a couple of years ago when I was at work, I was trying to find something to watch because the TV season was over, and I'm like, I need something to watch. There's 3 commentary tracks to each movie. So I watched all of those. There's hours of special features for each movie, and I watched the movie, and I'm like, I wonder if that's you can't tell. If you watch the Lord of the Rings movies, you can't tell what's real and what's CG. You can't. And you watch the special features for that stuff, and the stuff that you think is CG is a fucking model. The towers, they're models.
Huh.
Helm's Deep is a model.
It makes sense. Then they just scale it down.
Yeah, I was like, oh my god. And there's the whole rumor that when Lucas visited the set of Lord of the Rings, and the rumored remark is, he's like, you guys can do this all with computers, right? Because he's looking at a bunch of miniatures and stuff like that, and they're like, well, why? Why would you do that? Because it doesn't look as good as computers can look. It doesn't, it never looks as good as a model. Yeah. And so, you've got, Weta comes out, and the running joke with all my friends is that the big one right now is with Transformers. It's if Weta did Transformers, you would have fucking walking robots. You wouldn't have CGI robots. You'd have a fucking walking robot that actually transformed into a truck. Because that is, Weta goes crazy like that. I don't know if any of you guys are familiar at all with Halo in any way, shape, or form, but they built an actual functioning Warthog from the game. They built it life-size, drivable on the lot.
Yeah.
I'm familiar with it, but I've never seen that.
Yeah, they just wanted, it was when they're getting ready to make the movie, and because they were going to be the special effects house, they wanted to show that they could make this shit, so they went and made the fucking Warthog. And when you have that kind of dedication to your craft, that's what happens. And ILM took a slump with the Star Wars movies, and I don't think they didn't, in my opinion, they did not recover from that until the Pirates movies.
Yeah, they did really good with those films, although you could still tell a lot of it was...
You could still tell, but then they really, in my obviously, we all know that the Transformers are computer generated. and you can tell when they're not.
I don't really mind the computer generated of Like I've said before, the only problem I have with Transformers is obviously the director.
Well,
But
what I was going to say though about Transformers is that ILM, like they, the one thing I will say about Michael Bay, okay, this is the first, like, outside of Pearl Harbor, I think this is the most CGI he's done in a movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like his shooting style is not conducive to CGI special effects. It works really well with practical special effects.
Explosions.
Yes, exactly. And what I like about Bay, and what I like that he made ILM work for every shot. Like, if you watch Transformers, like, when you watch it do the commentary or something, watch the scenes with the robots in them, like the fight scenes. But imagine, because they're on those streets, those cars are there, those cars are actually flipping over, stuff is exploding. But watch that scene and try to imagine in your mind those robots not being there while that scene is being shot on location.
Yeah.
And you take into account how the camera is moving in that particular scene, and then then ILM has to go back in, and they have to put the robot in that scene, and they have to match his camera. That they had to work their asses off. Like, in that, they really stole it. They stole it. Weta had the title from Lord of the Rings for best special effects, and ILM just stole it back with Transformers, and they stole it back with Star Trek.
Yeah, Star Trek, they definitely peaked on that.
Did you watch the special features for that?
Yes.
Like, they actually, like, in the computer, the model was to scale.
Oh yeah, they had every little nook and cranny and detail.
The Romulan ship was 7 miles long in the computer.
Yeah, that was just nuts.
Yeah, it's almost like they got one up by Weta, and they got fucking scared, and it's like, okay, now we're just gonna go. Now we've got to do that. And Mike, that story came out the other day where The Hobbit lost its director.
And I was just joking around about that because I mean, yeah, that was an actual story, but I had added something to the end of the Twitter update because I've never gotten into Lord of the Rings. I've tried reading the books. I've seen the trailers to the films. I don't care, and I'm sick of the fucking Hobbit, and I'm sick of the fucking Lord of the Rings. The only return is the return of the fucking Jedi, not of the fucking King.
Except Return of the King was before Return of the Jedi.
They were written
in book form, maybe, but not in movie form. No.
But the thing, fuck, I forgot what I was going to say now.
Something about losing its director.
Oh yeah. That was like my, I'm really bummed. The Hobbit is still going forward as soon as MGM works their crap out, and I'm really hoping that Warner Brothers just steps in and buys the rights to the Hobbit outright. But a loss of a director is nothing compared to having to wait even longer to see what Weta does. I mean, the two most notable things I've seen them do recently was District 9. Which is a visually stunning movie when you realize how much that movie was made for. And then another one that they did that I'm not sure if either of you have seen is Knowing.
Nah.
That.
Oh, you mean the sequel to Next?
I don't see how it was a sequel to Next.
It's a joke because it's Nicolas Cage movie and it's pretty much the same basic plot line.
Aliens?
Wasn't Knowing another one where he had mind powers or something?
No, I don't think anyone has mind powers in Knowing. There's two really big set pieces in Knowing. One is a plane crash, and one is a subway accident.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the big set piece at the end of the movie where the Earth explodes, and that plane crash. I've never seen a more dramatic scene in any movie ever. Ever. I was completely and utterly blown away by this plane crash. And then, the end of the world scene was just, basically they just like, just go crazy.
Unknowing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I seen that movie too. It was just nuts.
But the plane crash. Oh. It almost makes me never want to fly again thinking about it. Okay, I've talked enough. Somebody else talk.
Well, we already pretty much all three of us agree. Just say no to 3D. Like 3D was big back in the 80s when it was like blue and red glasses. And then it went away for 20, 30 years. Now it's back. Now they have actual glasses. I've seen people with these damn things. They look like thick-rimmed Coke bottle sunglasses. And I'm thinking, why would you want to be seen in your home or in a theater wearing those things? Oh, God. I don't get the appeal of 3D at all whatsoever. I hope to God it does not catch on. I hope it dies in a fucking fire, because if it catches on and theaters think, oh, well, we can just show all the movies in 3D, charge more, and that'll be that. And it's like, if you really want to see the damn film, you have to have these fucking giant-ass goggles.
Well, I have news for you.
It's not going away.
There are 30 movies over the next year that are being done in 3D.
Yeah, I know.
And my theater has, by the end of this month, my theater will have 7. Half of its screens will be 3D.
As long as the A-Team is not in fucking 3D, I don't care.
Well, just wait.
It'll come back out with it.
And that's the other thing that pisses me off about, all Shrek the Fourth or Shrek the Final Chapter, whatever the fuck title they decide on this week. Between that and Toy Story 3, they are re-releasing those DVDs with they're remastering them in 3D or whatever. I'm thinking, oh fuck, just another way for them to make more fucking money.
Well, I'll never buy them.
Well, true, but as far as my opinion on theater gimmicks,
what did you? Yeah, we were curious about that topic.
Steve brought it up. Steve said 3D, CGI, and theater gimmicks. Basically, theater gimmicks to me is like if they have a contest or if they pass out some sort of booklet, or really, honestly, the theater gimmicks to me are like all the giant posters and billboards and advertisements.
All the cool stuff that I like to bring home.
Yeah, that has to go back to the studio eventually.
Oh, that stuff doesn't go back. I don't know whoever told you that, but it doesn't go back.
People here have told me that it goes back to the studio.
Well, even I could have told you it doesn't, because my wife had a friend that used to work for a local cinema that closed down a couple of years ago, and they used to get movie posters and whatnot, just whatever they wanted.
Yeah,
it was a first come, first serve.
If there's a poster you want, Steve, I can probably get it for you.
Yeah.
I have the run of the posters at work, so
nice.
But no, it's like, honestly, I can, as far as movie theaters go, the movie theater going experience for me nowadays sucks.
It depends. It depends, because there's theaters I can go to, and then there's theaters that I can't go to, and I can't go to certain ones because, like for instance, I fully support NCG because I like the free refills. I like being able to go and actually enjoy the movie and not have any assholes interrupt it. I like the environment. I like the fact that it's clean. I like that I don't have to worry for my life walking outside whether I'm going to be shot.
Well, thank you for the plug.
I mean, it's true. I personally hate going to the other one that is remaining. I mean, granted, National Amusements had like 4 or 5 different theaters in the local area. One of them,
National Amusements is actually gone now.
Oh, I know. It's Rave Productions that owns Showcase Cinemas.
West.
Yeah, Showcase West.
Really?
Showcase East closed a couple of years back. Cinema 10 closed a couple of years back. The Cortland Cinemas closed a couple of years back, and then their drive-in closed. Um, but as far as theaters, um, I, I pretty much don't like going to the other one just because one, it's in the Flint area, which they've actually had shootings at that theater. As bad as that is, I mean, they've put a lot of higher regulations to prevent people from coming in after certain times under a certain age, which is cool. But that whole establishment is a ripoff, and not to mention that they charge more for dumb gimmicks in certain movies just because they know that it'll bring in more money.
Yeah, and that's the other thing that pisses me off. It takes $20 to $40 to go to the movies. That should not be.
Well, see, this is why I like NCG though. I mean, another shameless plug for Mike Powers, employer, but you
But
pay, you can buy
I'm
a
talking about the
combo.
overall experience. I'm not talking about just the CG in the film. I'm talking about the ticket price,
Well,
the
I know.
popcorn,
I'm talking
the
about
drinks.
Hang
That's
on,
what I
give him
am
a second to
talking about.
talk. I know what he's going to talk about.
They have combos, for instance, which if you go to the other ones, they all have these little dinky bagged popcorns and these drinks, and they don't let you have a refill, and then they charge you double of what NCG charges. Whereas NCG charges you can get a combo of like a mixed match of whatever, and no matter what size it is, you get free refills, and they're pretty reasonable price even. I mean, even on their small popcorn bucket, it's still bigger than the large popcorn bag at the other place.
Yeah.
And like me, I would rather go to the movie at NCG just for the popcorn alone, just for the fact that I actually get a bucket, whereas the other place I get a bag and it's out in 10 minutes.
I thought you were going to say something else. I thought you were going to talk about the.
I just love the fact that prices are cheaper. I can go see an IMAX movie in the same theater.
I thought you were going to talk about the club card.
Oh yeah, I forgot all about that. I do have the club card. If you see a movie or go to the movies enough, your 11th ticket is free.
Yeah, but I'm talking about just in general going to the movies. No club, no, if they want to run specials, fine. But like a bag of Skittles and a box of Junior Mints are gonna run you total of $5-6 just for those two things of candy, where you can go to Kroger or whatever other general store and you can get them for half of that.
I mean, granted, I'll give you that, but at the same time, I personally would rather have popcorn and a pop during the movie.
Well, I know, but I'm just using it as an example as far as overcharging and pricing and everything else.
They have to make money, though.
Your example has been that is something that has been going on since I was a kid. Like
I know, and that's my main complaint about the movie going experience in general.
I just don't. I cannot tell you the last time I got anything at the concession stand.
Well, no, I mean nobody does, and it pisses me off that some theaters are like, oh, we don't allow bags, or we don't allow this, or we don't allow that, or whatever, And I know there are plenty of ways around it, but still, it's like, they're all gung ho about, oh, well, if you can't buy here, honestly, with the theater that's well, not really by me, but the theater that's like 2 bus rides away from me, when I go out there, they have this new little bistro thing. I'd much rather go in there, order a, chicken sandwich and chips or whatever, before the movie. And this is the other thing. I don't order drinks when I go to the movie at all. I don't even bring my own drinks. Because the whole point of going to the movie is to actually watch the movie, not drink half your drink halfway through the film, have to get up for, 10, 15 minutes to go to the bathroom, and then come back and you've missed part of the fucking movie. It makes no damn sense.
Well, to me, I like getting the drink. I like getting the popcorn, even if I don't
maybe
get
your
the drink.
bladder is just a little bit stronger than mine then.
I think Steve is able to appreciate the movie-going experience as a whole.
I've been going to the movies since the first movie I ever saw in the theater was Batman: Mask of the Phantasm, and ever since then, What's that?
Snow White.
Snow White.
Worst Disney film ever.
Yeah,
I
debatable.
don't know if it was a re-release or something, but that was the first one I saw.
The first one I saw was the Batman, the Mask of the Phantasm, and ever since then, every time I go to the theater, it's like tradition to get a popcorn and a pop. Even if I don't get the pop, I have to get the popcorn. Otherwise, it's not fulfilling the entire need of my movie-going experience.
No, it's not the experience.
And to me, I've always liked that. I mean, that's something I've always liked to do, and I still continue to do so.
My dad does that too. I'll get tickets and he'll just go to the concession stand and get himself a bucket of popcorn and then come sit down.
Yeah.
And he'll finish it before the movie starts and he won't go refill it, but he's had his popcorn.
Mm-hmm. Well, we go refill, but
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm just saying, like in his case, it's the same thing. It's just he's had his fill, So I got my popcorn. I'm at the movies.
Yep.
Yep. So, we have anything else to say on this subject?
No, I think that about wraps it up.
All right, so thank you for joining us here on Geekcast Radio. There are several ways to get in contact with us, so leave feedback for the show. Visit the website, geekcastradio.com. Join the forums, PredaconEmpire.com/Nexus. Leave the show's feedback in iTunes. Please do this. Follow us on Twitter. Showing name there is Geekcast Radio. Mine is TFG and Mike. And Michael, what is your Twitter?
Booth Ninja 81.
And Steve?
SCP-21.
Become a fan on Facebook. Search Geekcast Radio Network. The voicemail line is still down, so don't call it. Be sure to check our UK affiliate, blogomatic3000.com. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Geekcast Radio. Wish you'll join us next time. For now, I am TFG1 Michael with
Steve Megatron Phillips.
And Michael Powers.
Thank you for listening. Until next time.